How do we recognize that we are all one being? That's the difficult one. There's a definition of non-duality which I really love, which goes something like this. Our essential being is peace and happiness itself. And we share this essential being with all things and everyone. Now, the first part, recognizing that our essential being is peace and happiness itself, is one little challenge, but we find that easier because our senses confirm it. If you just relax into being and you let circumstances be as they are, in other words, you don't try to fight them, you don't try to feel better, you just be with what is, allowing things to arise and fade. You will arrive at this sense of I am. And when you tune into the feeling of I am, it has qualities. Peace, can it be strength, love, compassion. So then you begin to realize, well, my nature is peace. This is the peace that passes all understanding. It's the peace of your nature. This is what it means when it says, what you seek is already within you. So that's already within you. Okay. That's a challenge to get to, but we can do it because why? Our senses will confirm it quite quickly. Okay. But the second part is what's difficult, and we'll discuss here. But before we get into that, it would be awesome if you support this channel by giving this video a like and subscribing so we can do more of these. Alright. So the second part. We share our being with all people and all things. How is this possible? Because our senses don't confirm it. When we look out at the world, we're different people. We really sense that there's other people and that I'm a person. So the first step really to move beyond this is to recognize that these itself are sense perceptions. They're not necessarily true. They are sense perceptions. And the challenge here is we have to override the sense perception with the knowing of what is true. As the first metaphor, consider believing that the earth is flat, perhaps long ago. But now we no longer believe that the earth is flat, but our senses tell us that the planets go around the earth. The sun goes around the earth. Well, we know that it's not so. How do we know this? Well, we just grow up knowing it. So that knowing is so embedded. So that is an easy one where our senses every day are subdued by what we know to be true. So we must bring the same practice to knowing that our being is one with all things and everyone. A second metaphor to help. Consider the space around you, space in this room, in the room where you're sitting. Consider then all the spaces in your whole house, then the space outside, then the space of all houses in your country, then in the world, and all the spaces within cupboards. How many spaces are there? If you count them as separate spaces, there's billions. But if you turn your attention to what are they full of, they're full of air, or the substance of space. They're full of dimension. So, how many spaces are there ultimately? There's one space, which is space. So just as it appears that there are separate spaces, and you can go and I'm going to that room, but that's just a function of speech. But really there's one space. Now imagine that the substance of space is actually spirit or being. There's one substance of being. So does it make sense that over there, that person is a little packet, a little separate packet of being, separate from the space in which they appear? Is it really possible that there are always little separate packages of being floating around in space? Or does something within you recognize that being, there is only one being, they're not separate, they cannot be separate because it's absurd to think of little packages of being. Unless you really believe that consciousness is generated by the brain. But then you're probably not watching this channel so much. So this is the difficult part, and this is where it becomes also a practice, because it's the difficulty of overriding the senses. And reminding oneself that, is it really true that those people in the news who irritate me so much, and who I think are such idiots, are separate beings? Is not what animates them the same being that is like the space that fills all spaces, in all rooms and all cupboards and containers? There's only one substance of being, with the appearance of multitudes. So you can say we borrow our separate existence from this one being. So the appearance, we can have the appearance of separate, but it all goes back to the one substance of being. And I use the word substance because for me that resonates. It's like when you tune into it, it feels like a substance. Even space is a substance because it's got length, breadth, dimension. It's something. Even if in the vacuum of space there's nothing, but yet you know that there's space. So feel into the sense of a substance of being. You can feel it in yourself, being, in a sense of I am. Now this is something we're not going to get overnight, and then it becomes a practice. So for humanity as a whole, it'll take perhaps thousands of years to do it, because right now the world, as you know, is extremely crazy, because we all think we are separate. So the real recipe for world peace is to know into the substance of being, and the substance of being is felt primarily as love. It can also be peace, stillness. That's the same substance, the substance of being. Everybody can tune into that. Another way you can look at it is I am. So when you retreat into I am, and even further into I, just being, feel the substance of your own being. That substance is without qualities. Well, that might have qualities on the surface of peace, love, joy, happiness. So is that peace, love, joy, happiness separate from Ayatollah Khomeini's, or Donald Trump's, or anybody else, for that matter? When they connect with that true peace, which is in them, it's their nature, is that different from mine or yours? In the I am, in the I, there's no qualities. Just a sense of presence and being, the sense of existing, the sense of knowing, that cannot be separated from others because there's no separating quality, like he's male, brown hair, 6 foot something tall. Those are qualities of the appearance. Everybody has the same qualities of peace, love, joy, stillness. So these are things to meditate on and to practice. So when you're watching TV now, we can even allow ourselves to rave at that stupid person because of part of us, because our senses are still involved, and our body and mind react. So the body and mind reaction, but we don't have to be fooled by it. So we can say, that person, crazy. But another part of us, the deeper, can just know that this is the game. It's like when you watch sports on TV. You're really, really into it. When the game finishes and everybody goes home. It doesn't mean anything. But we live into that game because it's meaningful to us. So for some reason we live into this game of separate beings. Well, because it's meaningful. Because we can act and enjoy separateness and then the coming together and rediscovery of the oneness. So I don't walk around every day sort of like, everybody's one with me. Yeah, no, it's something that is like a walking meditation. When something irritates me, I'm thinking that's part of, here's irritation, and here's the knowing that there's only one being. And gradually that will override or coexist with the senses. You don't have to have suddenly full-blown non-dual, I'm just one with every being. That's too out there for most of us at this stage. What we want is a non-dual friendly and a non-dual aligned life. That is huge in itself. That is massive. So if you can work on connecting with the essential core peace and happiness of your nature, that's the first part of the definition. Your core nature is peace and happiness itself, which you get to by just letting everything be as it is, and knowing what is in the background, witnessing this, feeling its qualities, which are peace, happiness, joy. Then from there, know that the others, their essential nature is that same. And there's no definition, there's no difference between the peace that this being will experience and the peace that you experience. There's no separate qualities. There's no definition. You can say it's peace, but it's the same as love, joy. It's the one substance which we perceive slightly differently. That gives a flavor, color of love, or color of compassion, or color of strength, but it's the same thing. So my friends, let's leave it there. Do, of course, like and subscribe, and tell me about your experience, how you relate to this material. Put some comments in the comments field, and let's discuss this. And please challenge me if you think I've got it totally wrong. Okay, until next time.